different drug activity going on. And now we have a so-called church that is mocking what we legitimately do as an effort to help people. And that's what we're coming against.
And I'm sure.
Ask him if he believes all drugs are equal.
And do you believe all drugs are equal? Alcohol, marijuana. I mean, alcohol is sort of sanctioned by the church.
Yeah, well, it's not sanctioned by my church. And there's a big difference if someone does, which you would have to ask them. If there's a church that you know of that allows wine as a part of their communion, you go ask them, because we don't allow it. But even if they did, you have less alcoholic content in a little cup of wine than you do in a cup of NyQuil that you take for a cold. I'm not worried about that as much as I'm worried about people coming to a building like this, participating in cannabis, leaving here intoxicated, and going through a street here where there are kids who are walking and riding bikes who they could run over, hit, and possibly potentially kill. My concern is for this neighborhood and for, the non-participation of illegal activity to take place here. And
You said what would stop the first church of child molesters? Do you think that using cannabis is equivalent to child molesting?
Wait. You said this is...
Hold on.
What was the question? Ask the question.
Yeah. So you mentioned that, the next thing could be the first church of child molesters. Do you sort of equate this, the first church of cannabis, to that?
I'm not saying that I equate it with it, but I'm saying what happens is, if you allow this kind of illegal activity to go on under the disguise of a church, then what other illegal activity do you have to allow go on in every other church in America?
But isn't child molesting already going on in the church?
So isn't child molesting already going on in the church?
You're going to have to go to somebody and ask them. That's something that I know doesn't take place in our church, doesn't take place in many churches. There's bad doctors, there's bad lawyers, there's bad pastors, there's bad churches, but it doesn't mean that all of them are bad. So let's make sure we distinguish the difference between the good and the bad. And this is illegal activity. This is not legal activity. This is illegal activity that is going on here at this place.
So, and you probably have a decent gauge of what parents and local children, etc. How do you feel like people around here are taking this First Church of Cannabis?
Well, I wish I could tell you I felt like everybody was against it, but I really can't tell you that. I've talked to a lot of these neighbors. Some of them don't know exactly what's going on. I helped make them aware, and they became, through being educated, a lot more intolerant of what was going to happen. There are some that we haven't heard from, and there are some that are 100% against it. And so, our job is to do our part to make people aware that it's not okay in the name of a church to commit illegal activity.
Sir, might I ask you,
Who are you with?
I'm with Countercurrent News. Might I ask you, are you aware of the Supreme Court rulings that legalize the use of controlled substances for religious ceremonies, including peyote, by Native American Christian churches?
In
the United States
state
of
of
America.
Indiana.
Federally, yes, sir.
In the state of
Absolutely.
Indiana.
It is federally legal for, yes, in the state of Indiana.
If I can't answer a question, then don't ask me one.
I was just trying to answer your question. Yes, in the
I
state
wasn't
of Indiana.
asking a question.
Oh, forgive me. I'm sorry. I thought you were.
Okay. It's still illegal in the state of Indiana, according to the laws of this state, to possess, to participate in, to distribute marijuana. If it wasn't, we wouldn't have the prosecutor and the police out here for a week that have been trying to talk to this gentleman who's the leader to try to discourage him for participating in this behavior.
So if this was a Native American Christian church using peyote, would you oppose it the same way?
You're giving me hypotheticals. This is not a Native American church. This is the First Church of Cannabis, and
Right.
that's what I'm dealing with today.
Okay.
Have you personally had a conversation